Broads Media.
It's good stuff, fellas. Good stuff. You sweep a team that's as bad as the White Sox. That's what you're supposed to do. The White Sox blow, though. My God. I haven't seen anything like that in the majors, seriously, in my whole entire existence. You get no hit through, 7 innings, 2 nights in a row. Spencer Turnbull the first game, Zach Wheeler the second game. If you can't catch up to Spencer Turnbull and figure him out, then yeah, no doubt about it, you're going to get bent over and spanked like a little baby in the 1980s. If you're going to see Zach Wheeler. It's just night and day stuff, and you couldn't even hit Spencer Turnbull. I'm a little nervous that the Phillies are going to go through this Taijuan Walker experience. He did not throw particularly well in his last outing with the Iron Pigs, so I don't see why he deserves this other than his contract says he does. But if Spencer Turnbull and this staff as a 5-man unit currently are thriving as well as they are, why force feed Taijuan Walker? Why? Nope. Hey, listen. Sorry, either you get the bullpen or it's a 6-man rotation, but even then, if Walker stinks, then it's going to suck the life out of a huge positive right now with this team. Do I anticipate this staff to get back to reality when they face better opponents? Yes. Even if they're a 500-ish type club. Who's coming up next? The Cincinnati Reds are in there. The Padres are in there. What else do you got? You got the Angels in there. So teams that aren't necessarily world beaters, but 97 times better than Colorado. Therefore, your staff will come back down to life. This was a product of your opponent, but I don't want Taijuan Walker to be involved right now. I don't feel good about it. I feel very uncomfortable about it because I just don't think that he's going to be solid for you. So here's his numbers. He had 4 earned and 3 walks with only 1 strikeout for Lehigh Valley. I don't know. I don't know how you can justify it if you're Dave Dombrowski, other than we paid him to be good, but he hasn't been good. Look, the circus rundown play, the Little League Sunday afternoon, you have a man on first, going down the second, getting caught in a rundown. Chicago's throwing the ball all over the place. You can't make this stuff up. They have 3 wins. I don't even know how they have 3 wins, but they have 3 wins somehow. They shouldn't be allowed to play games this year. If I was Rob Manfred, I'd say we're shutting down the season for the White Sox. I want to throw up and vomit every time they play. I can't have it. It's a bad look for my league. So we'll just write in W's for every opponent on their schedule. All right, lucky you. Can't have it. I'll tell you what I can have, though. I can have Rojas, baby, like this. Couple hits. I could have Nick Castellanos with a triple. I mean, seriously. You're letting Nick Castellanos rake off you. Do you know how bad you are if you're letting Nick Castellanos look like a superstar in one game where he's getting extra base hits, where he's getting multiple hits? Now, did that necessarily translate to anything Sunday? No. Should it have? Yes. But all great teams beat up on teams like Colorado and like the Chicago White Sox. I'm stunned, though. I'm stunned that it's 6-0. I did not think it would be a full sweep of both teams, and it almost wasn't. Because Pinto was a disaster. Wow. Jose Alvarado has to warm up. He's got to get active in the pen. Then he's got to throw 1 pitch. What a waste. I despise when you have huge leads like that and you feel you're comfortable and someone pisses it all away. And now let's see what happens in Cincinnati, because if there's a couple close games in a row and someone like Alvarado isn't available because of what Pinto did, that's disgraceful. And that's brutal, man. It's just brutal. It can't happen. So you did survive, and I was probably expecting prior to both series 4-2 or 5-1, demanding 6-0, and they did 6-0. And guys are starting to become alive. So I do know that when you're great and you're a very strong player and you're going through a funk, even if it's against one team that looks as bad as Chicago, it's just about seeing the ball go through the hoop. It's a jump shooter that's missing a ton of jump shots and going to the free throw line. We're going to the free throw line this weekend, fellas. Can't give up free points. They're called free throws for a reason. All the cliches in the world. Well, same applies when you're a struggling hitter and you're struggling individually and you get to tee off at batting practice because, I saw some of those pitches. Alec Bohm, he goes yard, bombs, two 3-run jacks. And ironically enough, speaking about pitching, maybe that was the one that surprised us as a whole. Even though the ERA now is at a 5.61 ERA. But still, for Friday, I don't know if anybody thought Friday would be the day where Alec Bohm was going to deliver 2 3-run jacks. Because the game prior to the Phillies, actually, he's got a couple of losses in a row here. But I have seen him pitch extremely well. 7 innings pitched against the Braves, 1 earned run, 6 innings pitched against the Detroit Tigers in a 1-0 loss. No run support, 8 strikeouts. 8 strikeouts against the Braves, 10 strikeouts against Cincinnati. And his team's not giving him any run support. 0 shutout. Shutout 3 times when he's pitched so far. Oh, and one of those was a 1-0 loss. But that's what happens when your team blows. It becomes a walk in the park. 6 RBI. Even Whit Merrifield, Kyle's walking a billion times, smoking home runs to right field. You name it, it happened this series. Trey Turner's becoming an unreal specimen. Marsh, up to about 288 on the season. What more can I ask? What more can I ask? Now, here's something I would like. I want to see them go on the road, and I want to see them annihilate the Reds for coming into their building, the second series of the year, and taking 2 out of 3. Now it's your turn, to kick them in the testicles. Now it's your turn to go into their ballpark and make a statement. That game was close enough in the schedule for you to still feel that pain and realize that you have to do something about it. You started off the year super slow. You let Atlanta do nasty things to you. You let the Reds do nasty things to you. Make them pay. You can't pull a J. Cole and be all soft. All right, you got to do something like Drake. You got to attack. Go listen to what he's saying to Kendrick right now. My God. And if you really want to go below the belt, go look at what's happening between Chris Brown. I may have to stop myself. Poor Quavo. But anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it sounds like I'm speaking gibberish. There's a ton of beef in the rap game right now, and Drake is taking on everybody. Rick Ross, Kendrick Lamar, you name it, and he's slaying them one by one. He's doing some filthy work. It's amazing. Well, I want the Phillies to head into Cincinnati and pretend like they're Drake while Kendrick Lamar is sitting there waiting to respond, don't know what to do, all turtled up. That's the Reds. But anyway, I'll get out of this for a second. Nola, when he gives up a 2-run homer, what does everybody think? Oh, my God, they're having a competition on who can go through the game longer, who can have the longest no-hit bid against the Sox. And here's Aaron Nola. Come on. You can't even give us a little bit? You can't even give us a fun little 3 or 4 innings? You're going to give up their home run like you always do? No, against this team. But instantly, the offense has his back. They get right back into things. They did it in so many different ways. It was one of those weekends where you could almost make the Phils secondary because they were just handling ball the way they were. And if I'm being honest, do I think this is more the Phils getting hot or your opponent. I think it's more the opponent, but that doesn't mean I don't think the Phillies are getting hot. I do think the Phillies are getting hot. I also do think that this is the worst baseball team to ever be assembled, ever. Ever. So they're actually that bad that I think the Phillies who are getting hot is just not as much of the storyline as how bad Chicago really is. So let it be shown that this is really about how really bad I think Chicago is. Could you imagine being a fan of that team? Quite frankly, if it got to that point, I'm not watching. I'm not watching. If the Phils hit that territory where they're 3-20 plus and they're getting caught with their pants down on little league plays, I mean, quite frankly, we see that sometimes now. Out in center field, we've seen it happen. Out in the outfield, we've seen it happen. At third base, we've seen it happen. With JT behind the plate, we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen. But I'm just once again, to show you the disparity and the difference we're talking about here, I'm saying what the Phillies do, the Sox do multiplied by 1,000,000,000. If the Phillies ever get to that level, I will never spend a second of my time on that. Now, full disclosure, Saturday's game, they had such a comfortable lead. I'm sure, just like every other Philadelphian, that when you see what the score is, you think you're safe. The Sixers are on. Now, I had the iPad on the little table in front of me, so I had it on the corner of my eye in the distance. But when they're up so heavy, and they beat them up 7-0 the day before, Whit Merrifield hits a home run to show that he's worth something. I saw a quote from him, actually, and it made me laugh. It was something about he feels like he's back in high school, and when there's a bunch of chicks and a bunch of girls, and he wants to sort of act cool in front of them, and he trips over himself, and it's a hard time to recover. Well, that's how he feels his start here in Philadelphia has been. Us, the fan base, us as the city, we're the hot girl in high school that he wants to kind of flirt with or whatever, this and that, and he stumbles in front of her and falls all over. That's us. That's us. So him being able to hit a home run, maybe that's working his way back to actually showing something. That's sort of how he's angling it. And there's no doubt about it that I expect Whit Merrifield to be significantly better than any of that what we saw out in the outfield and left field where the ball is dropping in front of him. It's unacceptable. And with his ability to not hit or his lack of ability to hit, I've seen him play Major League Baseball for a long time. He's too good to stink forever, but that's how he's internalizing it deep down. I wouldn't watch this team for a second if I got paid. Where am I drawing the line? Like a G a month? If you said G a month, pay me a G a month and I'll watch the White Sox. Maybe then. That's my starting point, though. I will negotiate probably $1,500 to $2,000. All right, everybody, I'll shut up, and I'll let you guys all speak. Let's hear from Sean. Let's do it.
Taking care of business, that's what you got to do. Unfortunately, the Phillies aren't getting any help from the Dodgers and the Texas Rangers lately. Hopefully that changes today. But you got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, especially at home. And you swept out two teams, especially the White Sox, that are really, really bad. Again, starting pitching, excellent. And one guy I got to spotlight, and I mean, I've bashed him along with other people, but let's give it up for Johan Rojas at the plate. Whatever adjustment this kid has made, it seems to be paying off. If he can just cut the swing down, put the ball in play, I mean, he could hit 260 by accident, and that's more than enough to warrant his spot in the lineup.
Hell yeah.
So a nice turnaround by the kid, nice series for the Phillies. Go into Cincinnati and, a 4-game series, try to win at least 3 of the 4.
Absolutely. 3 of the 4 is what I demand. Would it be the end of the world with the split? No, but because you've turned the corner, so we think, if I'm demanding excellence, which I am, I do want to see a series win. Okay, I do want to see a series win, but it wouldn't be the end of the world with the split. But I hate that because now I'm already allowing some wiggle room and some leeway here. And just because you beat bad teams doesn't mean that I can give you that free pass. So this doesn't sit right with me. As you all know, I like to apply the pressure and kind of have that attitude the entire way. The Rojas thing is no joke, though. He is starting to look comfortable in the box. He doesn't look as overwhelmed. He's putting good bat on ball, and 260 would be a fantastic average for someone like Rojas in that speed, because whenever he hits a single, the thing is, he's so fast that even if he's playing, quote, small ball, it turns, excuse me, it turns into a double automatically. He's going to take off and snag a bag, if not two. So it almost turns into a triple at times, but you get into scoring chances with a snap of the fingers, a blink of an eye. I mean, there's so much wear and tear mentally on the opposing team's pitcher the second Rojas takes a lead, because he will take off. So his singles are automatically doubles. So even a 240, 230, 250 singles is significantly more than that, because he's going to get into scoring position. Now, I did think, because there was a little bit of a pause before you said, let's give it up for, because I've been criticizing him just like everybody else. Where I thought you were going to go was Trey Turner, because he is growing into the game wrecker now. That's the territory he's in. Game wrecker. As we sit here currently, he is hitting 348. 348. He had 2 runs scored in the final frame. Kyle Schwarber, 1-for-1. First 3 at-bats, walked. Walked in the first, the second, the fourth. Then had an RBI sac fly in the 7th. Of course, he had a 423-foot home run in the 6th inning. It's crazy. But yeah, Nicky C, 177. He had a strikeout and he was 0 for 4. It's a shame he couldn't do anything with the burst that happened on Saturday. Aaron Nola, 8 innings pitched, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Very efficient, 91 pitches. I didn't really expect Zach Wheeler to have a long leash once his pitch count got up there, because as we saw with Spencer Turnbull and just the noise surrounding, hey, he's got a no-no, check some things out, eventually the game sort of dictated Rob Thompson to step in there. But I do believe that there's PTSD from this front office and from this manager because of getting Michael Lorenz into that game that he had last season and then basically fell off a cliff right after that. They didn't want to put themselves in that position again. So because they have that to reflect back on and report back to, listen, the reason why I would have pulled him is, let's go look back at what happened to the tape. Let's not be silly and make mistakes that we've already made. We've already done that. We already paid the price for it. Now we have to make sure we put our franchise in a better position. When you started to see some of their pitch counts, regardless on if there was a hit, if there wasn't a hit, I'm just saying, when you start to believe, hey, there's a chance, one thing you automatically go to, especially nowadays, is where is his pitch count? You sort of recognized it was probably out of touch, out of reach. Not for the Nola case, but for the Wheeler. Well, that's because Aaron Nola didn't have the no-hitters. He gave up the home run early in the game, so he wasn't in the same position, so it's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go back to the phones here. This is from an unknown number. All right, we got a little unknown. Sometimes it just says the number, and I don't have it saved on who it is because they're not a frequent caller, but going straight unknown. Does that mean it's restricted? Should I be nervous? Let's find out.
Yeah, bros, I'm with you, especially with the White Sox, man. They are a real terrible team. You know, I think the Iron Pigs could probably beat the White Sox, but I'll give the Phillies credit for sticking to their guns and playing really tough. But, you know, just thinking about it, man, like, you know, they haven't really played any competition in the last 10 games or so. I mean, they had some pretty layup games, and I just sit here and think, man, I think the Phillies could, you know, add some relief pitching. Obviously, Phillies pitching hasn't been all that, but I think they should go out and sign guys like Howard Stern and Baba Booey. Baba Booey.
You want to sign Howard Stern? Did you guys hear that as well? Howard Stern? That'd be interesting. The bullpen. So if Taijuan Walker gets in there and Spencer Turnbull becomes a force in your pen, that's a way to improve the pen. Some guys are just shaky. The Pinto thing ain't working. I don't know what Marte is in more intense situations. I know he pitched this final game. The game was such a big blowout at that point, but he threw 18 pitches. He allowed a walk in there in one inning. But, it's hard to really know exactly what a pitcher is when you have that type of lead and all. I think there's more promising stuff out of Marte than we've ever seen before, but we're also not at a spot where he's extremely reliable either. So it's sort of that uncomfortable, I'm not sure yet. We're still learning about Marte. I think the bullpen's in a fine spot, though. I do. I just wish Sir Anthony was better. I wish he could improve and be more shut down and be more Hoffman-like. I feel good when Hoffman's on the mound. I feel good when Alvarado's on the mound. I feel solid when Matt Strahm is there. He does a lot of great things. He has some moments that are uncomfortable, but for the most part, I feel fine when he's on the mound. I like where the pen is at. It's starting to form. There's a few names I would like to incorporate themselves more. But if you add to the starting rotation with Walker and Turnbull becomes a pen piece, then that's a way to do it, Just a thought. All right, we'll take one more call here.
Way to go, Phillies! You swept the Chicago White Sox. We're 14-8. Yeah! Fucking go! Go Phillies! Go Phillies! Schwarber hit a fucking monster bomb. Second deck. Alec Boehm with the defense, man. Give Alec Boehm the gold glove, Hunter. Give him the gold glove. Yeah, team's playing well. How about Aaron Nola? Just dealing on the mound. Can't complain. You sweep the White Sox. Fucking go. Go Phillies.
I love it. I love the passion, man. I greatly appreciate it. Hey, I feel that excitement. The moment Kyle Schwarber gets a hold of one, the moment that dude gets a piss missile anywhere, whether it's left field, right field, center field, whatever it is, it's something else. This guy has been incredible since signing here. This guy has been everything you could have imagined and somehow even more. I'm actually more impressed for Schwarber, and I knew exactly what we were going to get. I was stoked for this man, and he has become a lockdown leadoff guy, walks a ton, power's insane, 40-plus bombs, sniffing 50 bombs, OBP, great, sets the tone, leader, keeps the clubhouse in check. Winner. The guy knows what it's like to perform at the highest level when the games matter, when it's October. There's no shock in the world that man comes to this city along with some other special talent. But the DNA in Kyle Schwarber has changed a lot about this team, a lot about this culture. Oh, now they're making NLCS runs? Oh, now they're making World Series runs? Come on. Kyle Schwarber, baby. It's just beautiful. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for kicking it with me. I greatly appreciate it. You guys are the best in the world. You know that. And we will talk again this week. A lot going on. We got Howie Roseman in the draft. We got Sixers playoffs. We got Phils in Cincinnati. So stay locked on Broads Media here. We're going to be firing up. Thank you guys all so much, and I will see you on the next one.